Gospel and Homily for the 31st Sunday in Ordinary Time, Year C. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus entered Jericho, and he was going through the town when a man whose name was Zacchaeus made his appearance. He was one of the senior tax collectors and a wealthy man. He was anxious to see what kind of man Jesus was, but he was too short and he could not see him for the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore tree to catch a glimpse of Jesus, who was to pass that way. When Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and spoke to him. "Zacchaeus, come down, hurry, because I must stay at your house today." And he hurried down and welcomed him joyfully. They all complained when they saw what was happening. "He's gone to stay at a sinner's house," they said. But Zacchaeus stood his ground, and he said to the Lord, "Look, sir, I am going to give half my property to the poor, and if I have cheated anybody, I will pay him back 4 times the amount." And Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham, for the Son of Man has come to seek out and save what was lost." The Gospel of the Lord. I'm sure we've all heard of Leonard Cheshire. Now, during the war, he was awarded the Victoria Cross after completing 100 bombing missions on heavily defended targets, which would inevitably have cut short the lives of many innocent people and indeed pilots. After the war, with his wife, Sue Ryder, he established the well-known Cheshire Homes for the sick and the disabled. I wonder, was this his way for making up for these bombing raids, which after the war may have weighed rather heavily on his conscience? Zacchaeus, a tax collector for the Romans, he fully intended to make recompense for overcharging his clients whilst pocketing the extra money. This was common practice among tax collectors at the time. Now, in order to make up for the dishonesty, he tells Jesus he is willing to give half his money to the poor and pay back 4-fold the people he had wronged. Wow, that's a real turnaround. The question we need to ask now is, do we ever feel the need to make up for things we've done which we're not proud of? November, which is upon us, is designated by the Church as a month of prayer for the holy souls in purgatory. Purgatory makes sense because even though people have repented of their sins in this life, they may not have fully faced up to the consequences of their actions. For instance, this could apply to fathers and sometimes mothers who weren't there or didn't give enough quality time or support to their children in their formative years when they needed them the most. And now that their children are young adults, these same parents may feel the need to make up for this and reveal a more compassionate side to their character, howsoever belated that may be. Another example, maybe for the younger ones, might be if I gave my parents a hard time whilst growing up. The inner voice of conscience may be telling me that I should show them extra love and attention in their reclining years. If they ask me to go that proverbial 1 mile, I'll go 2 or even 3. I'll go even further and anticipate their needs, sparing them the discomfort of having to ask me in the first place. Some non-Catholic Christians used to often tease us Catholics about running back and forth to confession whilst at the same time not facing up to the consequences of our failures. There is more to confession than that. Repentance involves a change of heart with a strong desire to atone for the times we've let people down. As in the case of Zacchaeus, this may apply to our honesty, perhaps in looking after other people's money. At a conference here in St. Vincent's on dementia some years ago, we were told that some people who take on the role of executor or power of attorney for the vulnerable and the not so vulnerable often cut corners with honesty and have no qualms in writing out checks for themselves from the vulnerable person's account for even unnecessary things. We are told that that's quite widespread. As part of our repentance, we can make up for these sins by being more generous in giving to charity. For a small man, Zacchaeus must have felt 10 foot tall when Jesus came to his house for dinner. Jesus comes to my house in Holy Communion, and like Zacchaeus, he knows the great efforts I've made to make up for past sins, so that the fullness of his salvation may be mine both here and in the hereafter. Thanks very much now for listening, and God bless you all.